some claims that are pretty outlandish, but I can back them up. Boom. End of story. There is no other crypto out there, so don't get it twisted. If you don't understand where you're parking your money, you're gonna pay the consequences for that, and that's just how the cookie crumbles. Boom. We're obliterating everybody, literally. There is nobody else that comes close to what Hex has done. Boom. Oh, it's about to get funky. Funkier than you could have ever imagined. You know, Richard Hart is a boss. Hex is literally the best thing on the planet. It's simple mathematics. Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest. That's it. That's the secret. The guy well told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. Shit, motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. Man, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Y'all deep. Everybody. My God. Ex-Asians, bro. Everybody. Australians, man. Everybody gets it. Yo, when is it told you? Dollar told you. Everybody done told you. It's crazy. Ha! I've been on mute this whole time. This is great. This is great. This is amazing. So yeah, I hope everybody's having a great Tuesday. We'll just start from the top. Just want to say what up again. David West, David East. What up to y'all? Blinds, what up? Nice name there, Mr. Wonderland. Shout out to you, Hex Phantom. Yes, please take some notes. It's gonna be a good one. I got some fresh charts to throw up on the deck. And thank you, sir, for the $55.55 super chat. Much appreciated. We all know where that's going. Hex.com. Stand in the door, folks. Please do that. Shout out to you, Pulse Power, D Money, Dante, Hex James, excuse me. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's just, man, people always want to flock to these guys with all these follows and all of that. And, it's just, I get it. I get it. You want to go where the eyeballs are and all that. I get it. But if there's one thing I've learned from being in Hex is that, some things have to be found. And this is one of those things, right? As good as this is like water in the desert. And you gotta just walk for this shit. You gotta walk for it, and that's it. There's no option. Um, and that's just how that cookie crumbles. Because there's a barrier to understanding. And that's important because that barrier to understanding is what yields quality to the quality or the quantity of people that we're having in this community, right? Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be within the next few days. I don't know. I would just be ready. Luckily, I'm ready, so I would just be ready because we don't know when he's gonna say go. So you gotta be ready. Peace out, brother. Thank you for checking in, though. Lord Kings, what up? Yeah, y'all do that. Y'all do that. Y'all do that. What up, brother? Um, yeah, we gotta just try to do better, right? And that's just how it goes. So, thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Um, when you have a barrier to understanding something, it forces the character of a person to come out, right? And what that means is that you have to. You forgot the one at the end of that, bro. Check the screen. What up, Tom Wade? Oh, what up, Dylan? Thank you for coming through. Uh, what up is on now? Oh, it's now. It is now. Oh man. Uh, so you got to really have to understand why Hex is so hard for people. Some people just don't want to try, right? Some people don't want to try. Um, maybe. Um, some people don't want to try, right? And that's what makes a difference between people understanding Hex and people not, right? People not understanding the purpose of Pulse Chain, people not understanding what's happening in crypto, people not understanding what's going on, because there's a lot going on. uh, and I didn't anticipate all of this, and I don't think everybody anticipated all of this happening all at the same time. We were all ready for Pulse Chain to launch a long time ago, and now we understand why it's taking so long. Hola. Espero que esté bien, señorita. And now we understand why it's taking so long. Um, they're basically trying to create a whole ecosystem, right? So that's going to come with some strings attached, right? And that's something that people have to understand, at least for now, because that's just what it is for now while they try to figure out other shit, right? And that's just how that has to go, right? Like the bridge, right? The bridge is going to be with keys, right? Because it's too hard to do it without keys. Fair enough. Now, if we know one thing is that this individual has lent the ability to be trusted, right? Which is important because anytime something has keys, that's usually a red flag, right? It's usually not a red flag. It's usually a red flag. So in this case, we don't have to be concerned as much because the track record speaks for itself, and that's important. Track record is important. A lot of people only invest in things with track record, right? And it's important people understand that because track record is everything, right? And the track record of Team Win is always win. So why wouldn't that continue even if there were admin keys involved? I don't know. It's an interesting question, right? And thank you for the super chat, brother. Appreciate that. Shout out to you and the missus. Hope you guys are doing well. And it's just like you got to understand that, right? You got to understand what's happening and why it's happening, right? We've reached a point in time where you cannot do anything in this ecosystem without having to fucking pay an arm and a leg, and it's ridiculous, right? Like if you're moving $100, you shouldn't have to pay 20, 40, 50 bucks to do it. That's crazy, right? That is legit crazy. I mean, what is going on? How are people okay with that? How is that normal? How is that okay? And it's not okay. It's not. Um, and this is the whole point. It can't be okay. And yeah, it happens, right? And yeah, it's this simple. It's so crazy because it's really this simple. And a lot of people don't, they don't want to realize that, but it takes some time to realize that because you give yourself so much rope to hang yourself with that you can't even realize what's going on, right? You couldn't even realize it. And this is what trading does to people. It's like a casino in a lot of respects because a lot of people enter thinking they're ready to play in the gladiator stage, right? But they're really not. And that's really what it boils down to. Are you a gladiator or are you not? Right? And when you're jumping in that arena, you got to be ready because the market will do what it wants. It's not going to do what you expect it to, right? And that's the thing that we have to take into account when it comes to markets. And when you take time over timing the market, you typically find success. And the reason for that is because you're giving yourself room for error, right? And that's important because when you're giving yourself room for error, what's happening is that you're giving yourself the ability to dance, right? in a lot of ways, right? When you want to think about it, like because if price is moving too close to where your threshold is, right, with respect to risk, well, you got to get out, right? You're not gonna just let it cross that threshold. Like you're just gonna get out. You're not gonna wait. Why would you wait if it's already near there and you already know you're gonna get out? Why wait? Just pull the ripcord because you're gonna save yourself the heartache and pain anyway, right? You're gonna do that, and that's always beneficial, right? Because preserving capital is first and foremost. You got to make sure you got money for the next day because what else are you going to be doing if you can't trade? Nothing. So that means you can't make money, right? So you got to be ready for that.
And that's just how it goes. So let's get into some charts, man. Let's talk about what's going on in X. Um, let's talk about. Oh, thank you for the super second, brother. Appreciate that. Can't see it right now because I don't got the YouTube up, but I'm sure it's a good one. Let me get the web page open. Let's get this charts over here. And let's get this one as well. And for those of you that might not be aware, there is a Nuremberg 2 currently in the works. So be ready for that. Should be fun. Should be fun. Are you guys hearing me all right? Let me know. Because I'm not really doing anything different from what I usually do. So let me know. Thank you. Give me a second, folks. And now I will mute my mic. All right. Thank you for letting me know my audio is good. And I don't know what's going on tonight, but it's popping off out there. So, never mind all the background noise because it's going to be a lot tonight. Yeah. All I can tell you, let me tell you guys this, just because I think it's important for you guys to understand what's actually happening in the background. At least as far as I'm involved, I can't speak for others. But with the specific projects I'm involved in, I'll share some good alpha info for you guys. So basically, everything I'm working on is a pump the bags. It's not for self gain or anything like that. Although I will gain from it, of course. But the reality is that it's really not for me. It's for everybody. Now, what does that mean? Well, we have to understand that in order for the ecosystem to flourish, um, it has to be able to move, right? Like money has to move. That's the only way that it can grow. Um, so, when you take that into account, there is no infrastructure for crypto. There really isn't. So our goal is to basically do that, create that infrastructure. So all of that is to say that whatever we end up doing in terms of firms, companies, whatever the case is, all of that stuff is literally the pump the back. Because without that, what are you doing exactly? You just got all this money and you can't use it. What's the point of that? All right. That's the piece of purpose. That, and why not give access to people the best asset class in history, or the best asset, or fuck it, the best asset class in history, right? Like RG says. Um, you can't um, you know, you can't really put Hex in the bucket with everything else. It really does stand alone, right? We can call it a crypto, we can call it a financial asset, but it really is a combination of both because neither exist, right, in their true form. And that's important to understand also. Because what happens is that people get the two conflated, and they shouldn't, because they're not the same thing, right? This is why definitions exist. A lot of people have a problem with that. I mean, this is why we're at where we're at now, because people just lose, right, the very basis for definition of what's what and who is what and whatever have you. So it's important to just keep the very bare minimum always at mind, right? Like, how are we going from A to B? How, right? And that's by understanding the bare basics. You got to understand the bare basics. You have to. And that's why knowing definitions of words and things like that are important, right? And excuse the background noise, guys. But they're important because that's how you're not lost. And that's important to realize that, right? When you don't know, you get misled, and this is kind of the problem, right? In a lot of cases. Give me a second, guys. All right. So yeah, that's kind of the problem, right? It's very easy to get misled when you don't actually know what's going on and what's what, and that's why knowing is very important. And this is why knowing definitions is very important, because when you know the definition of words, you actually have somewhat of a clue, and you can't be uh, you know, you just can't be the type of person that just assumes stuff, because you just end up shooting yourself in the foot. You can't do that. And for those of you that are new, please read the bottom of my screen. That ticker that's scrolling at the bottom there is very important. Never share or expose your seed phrase or private keys, please. They are for you and for you alone, not for anybody else's eyes. So yeah, please do better. Do better. Do not ever click on random links. Yeah, maybe I should add that. That's a good one too. Do not click on random links, folks. Yeah, please. Hold on. Boom. There we go. Do not do either of those actions. Thank you. It's my public service announcement for the day. Because you got to understand, it's how people end up losing money, right? So it's very important that you follow those basic rules. Uh, yeah, I saw silly in the chat. Yeah, I always love talking about some food rules, man. Jesus Christ. But yeah, uh, know your definitions, right? If you know your basics, man, they can't really lie to you much, because they can't pull the wool over your eyes as much, and that's important because that's how you end up really figuring out stuff by yourself. At least that's how it is for me. Because once I know the very basics of the definition of the word, well, I can figure out what they're trying to tell me, even if they don't try to tell me anything. And that's just how it goes. So, yeah, let's go with the full version of the screen here. So I'm doing something new. We got the date, which was for last night. I'm not including today's data, but that's okay, because we are pretty much about the same place. And I think the payout was 6.669 tonight. Let's see here. Wow, 6685. Crazy. So it's getting up there, man. And we only got 10.6 million T shares in the pool. So that's helping the yield quite nicely. And the staking length is only going up, the average staking length. So it only gets better by the day. So let's see here. So circulating supply means literally the coins that can actually move. So the unstaked coins, not the staked ones. So even if they're just sitting in the wallet, they're being counted. As long as they're just not staked, they're being counted. As you guys have, relearned, right? All those people selling down here, man, imagine major L's. It's crazy. They're learning. Yep. Sure did. So here we got the first 743 days on the DEX. And I mean, it's just more of the same, guys. HEX is always going to outperform because this is just what it's done since day one. And that's just what it is. 138,500 on the HEX index. And T-shares index is at 290,500. BTC all the way down here at 5,900. Ethereum at 24,500. So just wildly eclipsing anything the big two can pull off, right? I'm enjoying some delicious chocolate because I'm fucking hungry randomly for no reason. So I had to pull something out of the bag here. Excuse me. So yeah, I mean, HEX is just following this pattern always. It can't do anything else. So the longer you hold on, the more you're going to benefit over time because it's designed to follow this arch, right? And that's important for you to understand because that's the whole basis of how this coin is designed to move. And there's many ways in which I can show it, right? I mean, everything this coin does is based on that. And I display it in a lot of ways. Like right here, you got 120, 240, 480, 960. And all these numbers, right? If I look up power values 2, let's see here. Guess the numbers are too small. Typically, the scale lines up in log base 2, but I guess for whatever reason, the numbers aren't really lining up over here. Let's see, 1920. That number looks familiar to me. Probably just because I'm tired of looking at it on there. It's all good. It's elsewhere. No worries. But as you guys can see, HEX is just pulling up on Bitcoin once again. Only 21% behind the first halving, which is the most inflationary one. This is why it's my favorite one to compare it to. Here we got T-shares versus Bitcoin versus Ethereum. It's at 150% of value versus 12% of value for Bitcoin. I mean, this is both major, right? Because at one point in time, they weren't even 1% versus Bitcoin, and it wasn't even really 5% versus Ethereum. So HEX has come a long way. I mean, T-shares anyway, right? And it's very important people understand that because this is just what's going to happen over time, constantly, right? Like that's it. Like it's always going to do up and to the right, up and to the right. That's just how it works. And it's important you understand that because it's only year 2. And look at how well it's done already in 2 years. What's next? Right? Crazy. And here we got market cap of T-shares, 64.5 billion, basically. At a 31-cent price. 30-cent price. Now here we can see the log base 2 all the way through. And how price stops. Or the total value locked per STAKER in dollar terms stops. Now let's check values. Right now, most recent high is at N equals 19. Most recent support N equals 17. 131,000, 524,000. Let's check the chart. 131,000. Support basically right here. Right? Most recent high 524,288. So there's your representation of log base 2 and how price respects it. Right? Every time there's a line, price pauses to some degree, comes back to it, tests it, pauses it, tests it, pauses it. So this is how you see that Hex is log base 2. Right? And it shows it in other charts as well. Like if we go back to the first one, it shows it there. Right? 1280, 2560, 5112. And how price stops here. Stops there. Stops there. Stops there. Stops there. And it's pulling up on this again. Right? It's just another iteration of just power base 2. Right? And that's all. So it's just how is it displaying it? That's really the only question. And here there is some connection. It's just a matter of the scaling getting right. For whatever reason, this chart doesn't want to do that. But there you go. Right? Now you can see it in real time. Right? And this is the best representation because this is letting us know what the T-shares are doing per person that's staked in real time. So there's no confusion here. This is what the system is designed for. So this is why I think this is the most important chart with respect to log base 2. Now take this chart in because there's a whole lot going on in this chart. You got the dollar cost of a T-share in yellow, the dollar cost of 10,000 hex in this pink color here. Then you got a T-share rate in magenta. Then you got the yield from the system here in orange, and the staked percentage of coins in light blue. So there's a whole lot going on in this chart. So take it in. Thank you guys for the super chats. Yes, that's basically what's going on over here. Thank you guys, man, for the super chat. Appreciate it. Thanks again, brother. So as you guys can see, we're basically at 20,000 right now. We're actually at 19,948. Hop, skip, and a jump from 20,000, which is going to be a big number because we started at 10,000. So that's 100% rip already from the start. So it's pretty major, pretty major. Now, for those that don't know, T-share comes from dividing the dollar cost of a T-share by the dollar cost of 10,000 hex or 10 hex, or just the value of the dollar cost of hex. So for example, let's go on to the next chart. This blue line gives us this actual present value. So we'll divide it for yesterday's rate. Let's just get a calculator open here. I was at 60.4869 divided by what? 30.12.57. All right, and I could have just done the 30 cents just so people are aware and gotten the actual value in the format we would need it anyway. So you guys will see what I mean in a second. So 20,000, right? That's the format we need anyway, and that's what we end up seeing on this chart: 20,078 versus 19,041. So this is the real-time T-share rate, because this is what it was when the market closed at 0000 UTC. So when the market crossed over, these were the prices I recorded. So this was the forward T-share rate, or where this magenta line is ultimately going to go. And theoretically, what it what it tells you is that the market is charging you a premium on buying Hex at that point in time. And there are points in time where there is no premium and you were getting a bonus, right? But those times come and go. And that was when we were having a dip, for example. Like the market really did some wild stuff during that time. And we can see it here in this chart because the market dipped for a while. But the t-shirt rate kept going up, right? It still kept doing this thing because that's how it was designed to work. And it's important people understand that because a lot of people lost their way uh, during the dip. So, make sure you just understand the basics because the basics are what matter. Nothing else. Because if the system is constantly doing what it's supposed to do to get you paid, you don't have to worry about anything. Because that's what it's about. Is the software doing what it's supposed to do? If the answer is yes, then the check mark is green, meaning you're all good. Because you have to remember, this is code. This is not some stock market. This is not some ticker. People treat it like it is, sure. But at the end of the day, it's not. So it doesn't matter how they treat it. That's why you'll have dips and you'll have misplacements of value. Doesn't mean there isn't value to be had. Like, this is value to be had, right? 28 cents. Come on. For something that pays you every day with no fail, never down. Man, come on. You gotta be out your mind. So anyway, there's a reason there's a premium on the market, right? I just laid out the reasons why. I mean, it's real simple, right? Real simple. Right, turn them little games into big games, right? All you gotta do is stake 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. That's it. Done. I mean, the market places a premium on you getting that thing that pays you. There's a reason for that. Understand that. Now here we have the value proposition chart. So this chart is just tabulating all the T-share payouts in cumulative sum form over time. So from day one all the way to now, every T-share has received this much payout if it's been in existence for that whole duration. 3,361 hex almost. Not a little bit, not a lot, but it's a lot if you've been in since day one. Because it's important we remember that at one point Hex was worth nothing. And with that, so were the T-shares. So those that were around the early days and picked up some hefty T-shares, you can multiply that by thousands, right? At the same time, they weren't getting anything at the time. And this is how we know, right? The payout per T-share index was essentially zero at the time, right? So if it was basically zero at the time, that means the payout was zero at the time. So they had to hold all this time to get to now, where they can now enjoy the fruits of their delayed gratification, which was approximately 2 years, right? For most of these guys, because they're now just retiring. They didn't retire last year, they retired this year. So it took waiting through all of this for people to really achieve what they perceive to be their goals, right? At least to get to the point where they can take control of their life and spend time as they see fit. And that's what retirement is for a lot of us, right? How do we spend our time? We spend it as we see fit, and that's retirement. So at the beginning, it was yielding zero, but ultimately it went up to 5x, right, of what it was yielding, which at the beginning was less than 1 hex per T-share. Now it's yielding almost 6 every day, right? So that's great. The longer you waited, the more you got paid on a daily basis, which meant the more you made on the aggregate annual basis, right? And that's what it's about. How much do you bring in over time. And the more you bring in over time, the better off you are. I mean, this is the payout total share, right? This is this orange line, but in return value. So 304,500, right? You take 100 off, and that's the actual return based on the data that I'm tracking here, which is from go.hex.com. So that's a lot of returns for doing nothing, right? Literally. Yeah. So just taking returns right here. Think about it. Doing nothing. And let me harp on this because I love to. Let's not forget the volatility is strictly to the upside, meaning your payout will never go down. It will only go up. And that's just how it works. So, I mean, this is a damn near negative risk because the design of the coin is one such that it's inherently must go up. Why? Because the dollar cost of a T share forces it to be the case. Why? Because the increase in the T share rate happens in hex terms, right? And there are times where it jumps almost 100 hex every time, right? And there are times where it jumps almost 200 or over 200. So it matters, right? And this is just why it's important to understand this. The T-share rate is always going to go up. So with that being said, so will the value of hex, because you will have to buy more hex over time, because that's what's increasing the quantity of hex that you need to get in order to have a T-share. So this is why they're correlated, right? This is why they're always tied together over time. And that's why that correlation is always one, right? And here we got the everybody gets paid chart, and the got the all-time average in yellow, the 28-day average in orange, and the 55-day average in magenta, with the price of X in this dull pink here, which is standing above all the moving averages, interestingly enough. And here we have the yellow at 4.451, which is all-time. 28-day in orange at 5.964, which is right around what we've been getting lately. So this is pretty accurate. And the 55-day at 6.237, which is a little bit above, but it kind of touches on what we've been getting in terms of outsized gains lately. It's been pretty good lately. And here's a representation of the chart today. It was 6.66, I think it was. 6.685. So it was pretty nice today. It probably would have been a nice little spike like this, because I think we had a sixer the other day too. Yeah, 607. So it's probably that one. Let's see here. But again, right, it's about noting where the volatility is, right? It's always to the upside, meaning you don't lose, right? And in this case, you're not losing on your gains. And that's what's important to understand, because again, the use case here is store value, making money, right? And that's what's important. Preservation of capital, all those things that matter, right? So one of the very basic tenets of making money is understanding that it's a doubles game, right? How often can you multiply your money from 1 to 2? Because that's ultimately what matters, right? That's just what it is, right? Like, you gotta be with that. You gotta understand that if this is a game of doubles and you found the one system that literally does that for you, you probably don't gotta go too far after you find that. And that's probably something that people don't really see, because they might not know, right, the rules of money. And maybe we should do a stream on that, because the rules of money are very important to understand. If you don't know the rules of money, how can you make money? How can you keep money? How do you know how to treat money? Right? Because it's a tool. If you use a hammer like it's a nail, you're probably gonna mess something up. So you got to use it as a hammer, right? Kind of the only way it works. So very important, right? 63 million, 64 million really in daily hex payout. And this is the systemic value, right? What happens is they take the number of T shares and they divide it by they divide the total daily payout. It's a total systemic daily payout by the number of shares, and that's how you get the daily payout per T share. And here we have the correlations between ETH and Bitcoin, and as always, it's just zero. It's just zero. And the important thing to note is just that the returns on the x-axis for X and Ethereum and Bitcoin are on the y-axis. X-axis versus y-axis. And what you really need to note is how the returns for Bitcoin and Ethereum are all over the place, while for Hex, they're pretty much just grouped in the positive area, right? And it's just the same case here as well. Ethereum all over the place versus Bitcoin just grouped, or I'm sorry, Hex grouped in one area. And this is basically just letting us know that the returns for Hex are typically going to be in the right ballpark, which is where we want it, which is typically in the right side of the zero line, right? You don't want to see a lot of losses. You want to see a lot of wins. And that's what we end up seeing here. And this is, when big money makes this discovery, what they're going to do is that they're going to put their money in it. Not going to question it. They're just going to do it. I mean, history speaks for itself. And that's one that really holds a lot of weight. That's why it's one of my personal favorites, and we just always do it. One of the ones, I got a whole deck just for this, right? So for those of you that don't know, you can check them out here. They're a little dated because I don't always put the chart up to date for that, but they're like from December 17th or something like that. A little whiles back. Maybe we'll go over them. I don't know. But here's the correlation chart for the T shares, right? You see the moving averages here for the T shares. They're basically staying in one. While they do languish a little bit, it'll be momentarily, right? They'll come right back, which is the whole point. So it stays at one the whole time. And the price just has to react to that because, again, people are being forced to pump the bag. They have to buy more hex in order to meet the requirement of a T-share. And that's just how the system works. This is a bad boy chart. This is just the price of Hex in orange, payout per T-share in dollar terms in magenta, and the adjusted Hex value, as I like to call it, which is just a summation of the two, price of Hex, payout per T-share in dollar terms, which gives you the $2 mark, which we hadn't been at in a while. But we're back at it now, so let's see what happens from here on out. Ultimately, the Hex price just follows this, so it's pretty much that. Here we have the price to earnings chart. This basically dictates the rate at which we double, because this is the measure of how quickly you get your money back, i.e., how quickly you get the money you put down back, i.e., a double. Right? And this dictates that it's, got to put the point there. All right, we do that. There's your rate. Right? Because this is just a signal. This just signifies, again, the price to earnings ratio, or how quickly you make your money back. Right? I did a whole stream on this, so please go watch it, because this is probably the most important metric you need to understand when it comes to Hex. Because people like to diversify, and I get it, but you got to understand what that means. When the all-time low for the S&P 500 was 5.51 times, meaning 551% versus 16.75%, meaning not times, but a percentage thereof only, not multiples, which is crazy because this was during World War I, one of the most desolate eras economically in history, because you had the agorist or the agricultural era ending, right? Like everything was going from agricultural economy to industrial economy strictly. So economies were getting decimated worldwide. It was a very dark time economically. And for it to only be 5.51 at that point in time is ridiculous, because damn, that's not cheap. But that's what it was. And here we're talking about 16.75%, 61 every day doubling right now. But you guys got to understand, and we'll talk about this actually once we get to the doubling chart. And thank you for the super chat, Rags. Thanks for being solid, consistent with the message for Hex. Appreciate that, man. A lot of people tell me, and I never know who I on board, so it's always cool to know uh, when one of the now streamers for Hex is one of the people I on boarded, whether I was the only one or not. I mean, we all play a part, right? And this is why I like to say everybody got a voice. They just got to throw in their 2 cents wherever it fits, because that's how you make your impact, whether it's on Twitter, Telegram, YouTube, whatever. Just do it and just be good at it. Be yourself, right? Because that's what attracts people to certain communities is people that are able to be themselves, right? How else does a community grow? By people feeling that they can be themselves. Yeah. Yeah, Donnell, I haven't even gotten to that, man. We'll get to that. Yeah. It's crazy, man. What else, Super Hacks, brother? Hope you're doing well, man. Appreciate you as well, brother. You be crushing it on them TikToks, bro. I don't know how you do it, but it's crazy because them TikToks look like a lot of work, man. A lot of work. So this is basically where we're at in this voyage, right? When you break down the monthly chart, and let's go to V1. Oh, we're looking at V1? There's no way. Really? Yeah, I didn't think so. So go to 1 month just to get a better point of view. I guess I gotta get rid of this crap. Hold on, guys. I just want to clean this up without losing my trend lines. Oh no, not that one. Motherfucker. Wow. It really just took my trend line and doesn't want to give it back. All right. I'll get you later, fucker. It's all right. Here's a V1. Now, this is nasty. All right. Damn. We got 2 days left too. Oh, January is gonna be ridiculous. Okay, so I'm glad I looked at this because this is just bananas. So these are monthly candles. Okay. Now, a monthly chart is clearly the longest that you can look at in most comfortable environments on a chart, right? Where it kind of looks like it's somewhat sensible or whatever. So now when you look at this candle for Hex that we're looking at right here, I mean, the last time we got something like that was for Big Payday's candle, right? And man, now do I have the volume on this thing? Oh, you can't even see it because this is in V2. All right, we'll go to V2 to look at the volume. Man, I feel like a little kid in a candy park right now because you guys just got to understand the price action was. So anytime you see a candle like this on a chart, and man, look, you can go look at any chart anywhere, any product, for a low to be made like this, where it supersedes the most previous low, right? And it's a bullish end to that candle. That following candle is going to supersede this one, typically. So we could get a candle like that, Like January could be a hell of a month, right? And man, this is gonna be something to watch. Hold on, because we need to check this volume. Mm-mm-mm. Oh man, yeah, this is gonna be crazy. Because so this is basically an equivalent, right? It's basically snuffing out all the downside volume that happened in the month of November. Um, and you still got all this outsized volume from October, right? But the question is, well, what just happened, right? What just happened is that all this selling has been absorbed by the market, and now it's like good fucking luck if you sold because you're never going to see those prices again. That's what the fuck that means. Now, how could that be? How do we know that that's true? Well, let's keep looking at the blockchain. Well, for one, current hold account keeps going up. 277,000. I mean, it's got to be higher by now. Where are we? Current holders, where are you? 278,200. So there you go. Current stakers 73,150. Clearly, we're gonna be above that right now. 70,210. So 760 above. So you know, more entrants in the system, more participants in the system, meaning there's less to go around. Things are more expensive, harder to acquire for the average Joe, right? Meaning only certain incomed individuals can tackle certain levels of share quantities now, right? So, and we're seeing it in the numbers, right? Like, because it's not expensive anymore, but this data is as of yesterday. And what we've been seeing is that less stakers to holders, right? Meaning more people are keeping their hex liquid. And not that much more, but more nonetheless. And then that's just the point to be made here. But the current holders versus total holders is still at 69.6%. So pretty flat. It's dripping a little bit, but it's not really dripping anymore like it was. And here we got the current hold stakers versus total stakers, and it's dripping. Mm-mm. But again, nothing crazy, right? I mean, it's just dropping, whatever. But it's still around 80%, right? So it's still pretty solid. Now, this is that killer because this is telling you what's available to be bought on the market or what could be sold on the market, right? So we're getting more holders, but at the same time, that circulating supply is diminishing per holder. So it's making hex harder to get, right? And that's what that means. So what does that mean in percentage terms? So at the end of big payday, or right at the end of launch phase, excuse me. What I'm tracking here is when this line stabilizes, right? When this circulating per holder volume becomes a consistent number, right? Something that we can track and depict what's actually happening in the system. So over time, we've able to ascertain that this is the point, and from here we can say that 37.3% of the supply, circulating supply per holder, right, in the system has been reduced by 37.3%. Now, the gamble is this: would you say that it's because of all of the active holders in the system? Maybe. From big payday to now has been 200,000 to 277,000. So 770, so 77,000, 78,000 new people. Okay. 22,000 to 73,000, 50,000 new stakers. Okay. 78,000 new entrants, 58,000 new stakers, in line with these numbers that we're looking at here, basically. right? But somehow all this supplies has disappeared, right? So the gamble is, do you assume that it's just that many holders are entering the system? Which to me, it doesn't really seem like it's that many holders, to be honest with you. 78,000 is not a lot of people when you got coins out here with million head counts, right? So Hex is significantly better than those coins that have million head counts, but yet it doesn't have that same limelight, right? So that's important to understand. This is the information that lets you know what's going to happen to price. Looking at this is cool, but this lets you know for sure that this is just the start. And that's what we care about. I, as an investor, care about what this is for, or what this is going to ultimately highlight to me, right? And that's what it's about. How big is your bag going to get? So when we look at the circulating supply, or the staked hex per staker, excuse me, it's now down to 839,700 hex. So at one point, you can find each average staker with this much hex staked, but now it's harder to find, right, people with that much hex staked. So harder to find that hex, just like we've seen in that other chart. And the hex payout per staker is getting harder to earn hex, right? Because again, hex is becoming more expensive, it's getting harder to acquire. Um, all those things go into account. So that's why you gotta DCA in and not play games, because you don't know when that level is gonna hit, right? Like we just had a nice dip that was unexpected, and now we get to see what hex can really do, because people don't really understand what this chart says. So uh this was recorded from the last double that happened on September 9th, 2021, when hex hit 46 cents. uh and this pattern goes out all the way to the 21st of December 2023, which is just random. I just chose that number because that's when they both end on the same day. It's really just random. So the actual average at which average rate at which hex has been doubling has been actually 49 days up to the last double, every 49 days. So that means even if it goes sideways, right, for half a year, which is done already, um, what it'll do is it'll just pick up the pace and recover what it hasn't done. That's what it means. So if the base rate, which I'm tracking here at 64 days, and I showed that it was tracking at, what was it? Oops. 61 days earlier. Well, that means that this probably isn't going to stop anytime soon if time is really the determinant here, right? If time is a determinant here, that means that this 30 cent is just a pit stop along the way to the run to 93 cents. Right. That's what it has to mean. Because what's happened is we've already missed this mark. We already hit that mark. And now we're in the time range where we would need to hit this one. Right, because we already hit this. Right. This one was met already back then. Because this was one that hit. So now we're in the range where we should hit this one. And the question is, well, what's gonna take us there? And it's gonna be buying, right? So when Richard Hart has to go on these streams to talk with these people with millions of views that, I mean, they got millions of views because they got millions of viewers or subscribers. Let's say that, But they don't even have the views to match our streams on their streams, but they got millions of viewers or subscribers, right? So that's the clout that they have. It's just their subscriber count. And it's interesting because they won't have the views, right? Like Richard Hart has maybe a 10th or a 20th of that guy's follows, but he has more views on his channel, right? So that just goes to show the quality of character and engagement that Richard Hart can drive relative to a Meet Kevin or whatever his name is. And that just speaks to the audience or the lack thereof that gentleman actually has, right? You have to understand that a subscriber count doesn't really mean anything because that could easily be a bought number, right? Many people have follow counts that they just buy on Twitter, and you see this all the time, right? I mean, I've heard that you can buy followers, like you can buy follows. Like this is the weirdest thing. I don't even understand how that happens, but whatever. You know, the internet is a weird place. But here you have something that literally is designed to do what's on this chart. And the only question is, well, how fast can it do it? Because that's the question we all have. Right? That's the question we all have. How fast can this actually pull this off? And the reality is if we get to what is this? This is November 12th, so plus 60 days. It's gonna be what, January 12th or so. I think. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah. I think it was January or November 12th to I think it was just 60 some days. Let's just go to 15. Yeah, all right. So that's good enough. So I guess that's the range we got till January 24th to see if this new target is going to play out. 'Cause I think that was November 12th. So yeah, we would have, if it's going to keep up with the actual rate, it would be much sooner. But I think we already passed that date. Because I think it was October 28th or whatever, plus 50 days from then would be shit. Yeah, we definitely passed that. That would be like 20th of December or something like that. So we already passed that. So it would be the 12th or 15th of January to hit that what do you call it? That January 15th target to hit that 93-cent mark, which would keep us in line with that every 64-day target. Because the funny thing is that this is an average. It could just not touch it, and it could just go sideways and up, and we could just end up at like $7 all of a sudden one day, and then just all of a sudden be in line with 49 days. This is the funny thing about this and how it works. It doesn't have to happen right now, but it will happen, right? Because if the system is designed to do this, then it's gonna do it. And until the figures change, then the odds of it doing it are in its favor. The question is, are you patient enough to wait it out? And irrationality makes people do crazy things that they always end up regretting. And if there's anything that Hex has taught us is that delayed gratification is the way to go. Right? That's the way to go. Because time in the market is always going to be far greater than time in the market. Right. And here's the thing. I'm a guy that's made a living timing the market. So I'll be the first one to tell you, yeah, it's doable, but do you really want the headache? Like, imagine being the guy that would strictly buy and sell these breaks right? And yeah, maybe you bought this break here, but then look at what it did, right? It just kept going down. And you just didn't respect the line because you thought buying this break was the right thing, but you just didn't take into account that you should be taking every break, right? And you should just be respecting your system, and that's it, because that's how the system is designed to work, you know? But people like to think that they're better than their system. And yo, you're not. You're not. You got to realize that there's a reason systems can be created and we can be successful with tools, right? It's not because robots are good and humans are bad. No, it's because together we do more than independently, right? So all this automated and all this shit, like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be as big as people want it to be. Because humans like being involved in shit. We like doing things, man. Like, you can't code the human element out. It's one thing to do it in the sense that a city needs to operate a certain way. Like, sure, there should not be politicians, and it should just be administrators clicking a buy or sell button, or a yes or no button, and it should just be a decision that's decided on, and it hits their desk as, this is what you need to do, not an elected person making decisions for anybody. Like, that doesn't work, clearly, right? Like, it should be something run by a blockchain where people are voting, and this is what ends up happening. And it's, not anything where it's just a bunch of irrational people deciding what happens and what doesn't happen. That's what we have now, right? It's not anything else. So those are the kind of things that people need to focus on, right? The reality of life. How can we make actual improvements to our reality, right? And we have so much power. And it's kind of crazy because a lot of us don't realize all the power that we have because we're too busy uh being lost in things, that just don't add value, man. Where do we go where nothing adds value? We go nowhere, man. We just walking in quicksand. That's what we're doing. But imagine, right? You're a trader with a system that works, and even traders with systems that works don't take their signals all the time, right? Like, they were long, they're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna hold it because blah blah blah. But then let's say what happens. They're gonna hold it because it's trend line, right? And they got long down here. But let's say they get antsy and they don't like this down move, and boom, they close that trade, and then look, the whole time they should have just kept it, right? And those are the kind of things that happen to traders, man, because they let their emotions just run them wild, right? And that's the nature of that beast. So you gotta be ready for that kind of thing. You gotta be, right. Like, here, Bitcoin rolls over. There's no reason to be long Bitcoin right now, but people are literally buying the dip, and that's just what it is, man. Right? Like, what are you doing with that? You're not doing much, right? You're not doing much with that. So here you have something that, man, it's making a move that no other market is doing right now. Let's look at everything else on a monthly, because this is going to be good. Okay, so Bitcoin is basically rolling over to go hit 32,000, and nobody's talking about this. And I'm just discovering this because I'm just happen to look at a monthly chart. And it's not even because I care, because I honestly don't care about Bitcoin. But it's funny because people are buying the dip and it's going down to 30,000. I mean, you know, you got all the Michael Saylors of the world saying buy the dip, Bitcoin's the best, blah blah blah. And yeah, Bitcoin is the best because it gave us Hex, but Hex now supersedes Bitcoin. Right now you have PulseChain coming to the fore. Right now you have PulseX coming. Right, you have all these elements that are necessary because the system has been destroyed. So now we have to recreate it. Right now is time and opportunity. Right, and this is the time to strike. this is the time to get things done because nobody is doing anything. Everybody's too focused on buying the dip on a depreciating asset, a depreciating speculative asset, mind you, because it's not a productive asset, right? Productive assets can only look like this. Because what reason is there in selling something that's generating income? How? You can't, right? It literally doesn't make any sense. Why would you sell a revenue generating business? That is what you're doing when you're selling Hex, right? And that's a true statement. It's a true statement. True statement. Right, and it's just by understanding these very basic concepts that I'm dropping down, right? Like there's a difference between investing in new infrastructure that's gonna lay down a road that needs to be paved because nobody else wants to build it. All of these things that are happening, PulseChain, PulseX, they're happening because they have to happen. This is not a situation where Richard is bringing crypto to himself. No, there is no crypto, right? What's actually happening is that we're creating crypto because it never existed. That's what's happening. So people have it confused. They think that Richard Hart is bringing crypto to him. No, 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 no. You're wrong. We are creating crypto because it doesn't exist how it's supposed to. It just exists in the form that they want it to. I mean, if the volumes don't help you understand what's going on, then you need more help than anybody can give you. Right? Like that's just a fact. Like there's no helping you. Because the volumes make it clear that 90% of what's going on is fugazi. It's all fluff. Right? If it was real volume, where is all that? And I've already gone over the analysis multiple times. I'm not gonna do it anymore. Like you gotta just look at the volume and understand that 90% of that volume is fake. Period. End of story. No debate. Because just like you looking at the housing market, just like you're looking at every market, everything is not moving every day. That is redundant. It is not possible. You can't say and tell me that 2 million Bitcoin is moving daily when there's only 20 million of them in existence or 18 million of them, whatever. Come on. I mean, come on. Right? You don't see that much Hex moving for a reason. Why? Because 9% of it is fucking staked. So, 9% of it shouldn't be moving around. That makes no sense. So, those are the kind of things that that they're just getting these weird questions lined up. And they're not really there to actually ascertain the utility in the product, what it does, how it does it. They're just asking the same old framed, I'm bored. Please pay me a nice paycheck so I can ask stupid questions. I mean, that's what that was that's what that frame was, right? Like it's very clear that those were lined up paid questions that were piss poor. He just swatted them down like he always has to, and it's just boring for us old time Hexicans, right? It's just boring for us. But for those that are not Hexicans, they get the benefit of learning some real crypto, right? And while we're clearly not gonna bring over a swath of people, because let's be honest, whoever's watching that, I mean, whoever's tuning in to watch that guy for crypto, they deserve what they get, right? I mean, they deserve what they get. All right, let's see. If you buy PLSX will you be able to buy PHEX pre-bridge? So look, just in case some things are not clear, I don't think there's going to be a pre-bridge. Otherwise, it wouldn't be this PLSX in the first place. PLSX is the DEX is going to operate, is going to allow things to flow. So without PLSX, there is nothing to do. Everything is going to be created because it has to be. So we're going to have PLSX, PLS chain, which is PulseChain. And those two items are going to exist in tandem, and the bridge is going to connect Ethereum to PulseChain. So from the way that it sounds to me, it seems that there is not going to be a point in time where there's not going to be a bridge. That's what it seems to me. But we'll see. I'm not entirely sure, but that's the way it sounds like to me. Could be wrong. But I think that that's what it's going to be. We'll see. But look, I don't know if people really really grasp the severity, right, of what Richard's doing, right? What he's doing is he's bringing crypto a second life, right? Like it doesn't exist. Like let's look at some random tickers. Look similar. Look similar. No, look, it looks similar. Right? And this is the point. It's not supposed to. Right? It's not supposed to, but it all does. Why? Right? And these are the things that nobody really looks at, but these are the things that make it obvious that it's all a fucking scam. It's all a sham. It's all bullshit. All these different things that are not supposed to have anything to do with each other, yet are all moving in the same direction at the same point in time. I mean, you got to be dumb to think that this is not coincidental. I mean, clearly this shit is happening at the same time for a fucking reason. And that's why Hex stands alone. I mean, look at this. Just look at this. How beautiful is that? I mean, come on. If you're not bullish after this stream, nobody can make you bullish. That's a fact. I mean, look at this. Damn it, this shit is just crazy. I mean, Hex is about to rip heads off. Ooh. Ooh. Tell you what, I don't own enough, and that's a fact. This is wild as F. So you just saw how the rest of the market looks exactly the same, except for Hex. Now let's see what the dollar's doing. Well, damn, the dollar looks like it's taking a positional move higher. Yep. So it's gonna just keep floating. The question is it gonna flow something like this again, or is it gonna take a pointed move upward? We don't know yet. We will see. But now this is a monthly chart now, right? So you gotta be cognizant of that. As of now, it seems like it has momentum to clear the zero line down here. But I mean by clearing it, I mean both lines at the same time. So we'll see. But that's really the trigger, right? When the dollar starts going down or stops going down or starts going down, that'll be what triggers a lot of crypto to reverse again. But it seems like it's not going to slow down anytime soon. And as of now, my trend lines are saying it's a sell, right? It's been a sell since November 21st on these trend lines. If you're just following them from their daily perspective, and the last time it was a sell where it was actually valid, right? Where it worked, because this one here didn't work. got invalidated. This is September 20th through October 3rd. That one got invalidated. And this one, 22nd of April. So this was a week after I called it, just based off the chart. But yeah. So yeah. I mean, it's important. While this is trivial to me, it's probably the most important thing that we've talked about tonight, right? Because this is how you understand what is, like what's actually driving the market, right? Like that's important. That's important because everything is looking the same, but one thing is not. Another thing is not. Like what's going on with that? Right? And those are the kind of things you got to look at. That's the outsized picture that you don't see, right? That's not what they're trying to sell you. You know what I'm saying? So you got to really be paying attention to that. What are they showing you that they're not showing you, right? Because that's the bigger picture, right? That's what you got to realize. What's the bigger picture, right? So yeah. What up, Kareem? Hope you're doing well, brother. Yeah, that's it, right? Like if this thing hits and look at how it's looking, right? It's looking like it's just lining up for another move. It's not looking like it's doing anything else. So, you know, that thing, if it picks up some steam, it's gone. It's gone. So these are the kind of things, right? If it gets back to 100 and it does another move like this, where it's just going sideways and consolidating, well, you're going to just expect some more of the same type of rips, right? Because this is what's going to floor the market, right? And what I mean by floor the market is that it's just going to push it lower. I mean, it's set up for that kind of move already, right? And this is what we're seeing right now. It's already hanging on a thread, right? And this is, you know, this is the kind of thing, right? Like we don't really see this often. Where like I've never seen the market look this dire. This is a pretty dire look, right? And if you're looking at the S&P 500, it doesn't look anything like that. And this is what I've been trying to explain to people during macro streams. Like it's not gonna make sense to you. Why would the crypto market go down when it's the one thing that's supposed to go up? But yet the stock market is flying, making new highs daily. 69 new highs in 2021. And there's a reason for that. Right? And I've talked about all of them all year long. So you can go back and check all my old macro streams. But long story short, they are printing all the money and it's going into their favorite sectors and not even in an economic perspective, just in the stock market. So we don't even have to get fancy. It's just straight stock market. So, it's not a coincidence that this is happening, right? It's just a matter of understanding the game and how it's being played. So, it's not a surprise. I thought VIX was gonna pop, man. VIX took a shit. I really thought the market was gonna really puke, and it didn't. And it's a function of what they do to suppress volatility because that's the name of the game, right? The longer they can suppress volatility, the higher the market can fly. Well, the better things look from an optic standpoint, and that's ultimately what matters. So, but yeah, when Richard has to sit there and talk to people that are beneath him, and all matter of respect, because look, I understand everybody isn't going to be a crypto expert. Clearly, all fine and well, right? That's all fine and well. But I think it's important to note that there is an ability to garner information without having to seem like a moron, right? And that guy did his best to seem like a moron. he didn't even ask any questions with regards to the utility of what it does. Like, why does Hex? He didn't even ask like why does Hex exist. Like, he just asked a bunch of stupid ass questions, you know. And this is just it, you know. It's like, well, where are his followers going, right? Like, if that's the level of questioning that guy has, I don't give a fuck what industry he's good in. He sucks, because that means that whatever he's doing, it could be done better. That's all, and that's okay. You know, there's different barriers. I mean, there's a lot of people in the promise coin space that got tons of followers, and they clearly suck. So clearly, it means nothing, right? And that's the whole point. But what you're looking at here now on this chart, as I'm looking at it, is a big old bull flag, right? Um, and this is crazy, because once it breaks out of this thing, well, shit, this is just gonna fly. And that's just what's. I mean, it's gonna be wild, right? And 93 cents. It seems like it's so far, but it's really only a 3x from here, right? It's not really that far. So we shall see. It's just gonna take a little hop, skip, and a jump from this level to get to this level, 43 cents or so, right? Or it might even crisscross higher and just become solid 45. We'll see. And then, you know, we're just gonna have clear skies from there. Really, it'll just be a matter of it maybe stops at 75 because it's one of those crisscross points, or it just hugs the line at 93. Like, who really knows? You know, we'll see. But we got a path laid out, right? We know it's a doubling system. We understand that. We understand the T-share rate is the why, right? Because there's a lot of reasons to ask why not, but why, right? And we have the mathematical proof to show the why, and it can be refuted, and that's important because that's what gives us the confidence to allocate, right? Because it's about picking the best horse in the race. I'm not about picking a bunch of horses. I'm about picking the best horse in the race, because that's what's going to guarantee me a return, not some random ass strategy where I'm picking 4 or 5 horses. Not like, you look, if I was to go to the horse track for real, that's exactly what I would do, because I don't know enough. But this ain't that. So, and I can do the work. Like, I know I can figure it out. So I don't got to do that. And this is one of those cases. So, you know, do yourself the work. It's a whole lot better that way. A whole lot better that way, folks. I mean, look at this. This is just being bought up, right? Now, it could be that there are more. I mean, damn, this is going to be crazy. Yeah, when this thing goes, it's going to go. So, yeah. It's gonna be crazy. So if you guys got any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just gonna wrap it up here. I ain't got much else to say. That's pretty much it. I got some weird ass bots now hitting the chat. What's up, man? You guys don't got better shit to do? Yeah, it was a weird short link, right? Completely weird. Yeah. Thank you, brother. Appreciate the shout out, man. Thank you. But yeah, you know, this is a productive economic asset, right? It's pretty much the most important thing to understand about Hex, right? And one thing I will say, I don't want people to think that Hex or PulseChain and PulseX are gonna trade like Hex, because they're not, right? They might trade in a straight line vertically, sure, because they have so much more eyeballs on them, right? But we got to understand that the dips are going to happen in those products or in those projects, whatever you want to call them. They're not going to be like Hex. It's just not going to be the similar motion in the ocean. So we got to be ready for volatility in those markets to be distinct from the volatility we see in Hex. And that's just something that people just need to be aware of, because I don't think we've ever discussed it, but I think it's important that we discuss it and whatnot, and just take it there. PulseX strategy, just sack whatever I can, bro. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing that's what you mean by strategy. I don't know. Let me know if that's not what you mean. ETA for prizes I'm working on. Hopefully by the end of this week, man. Hopefully next week, no latest. Because one is almost ready. Just getting like final details taken care of. Like website stuff like that. The other one is just all legal paperwork. So that one is going to be a longer process to the broader public. That one I can't really talk about as much, but they're both going to pump the bag. And that's what it's about. You know, it's about integrating people into the financial system, right? So that they can take advantage of their crypto wealth. Because what good is your crypto wealth if you can't use it, right? On the backside of that, we are trying to integrate ourselves into the system, right? Such that we are able to use our crypto wealth in accordance with what we think is proper and right for society. So that's the other objective there. So for me, I'm just gonna sacrifice whatever I can afford, bro. That's about it. Hope that answers your question. Let's see, compliment and ranking, right? Yeah. Yeah. So the way limit orders work, somebody has to fill the gas on the side that's filling your order. So if your order isn't sizable, probably not gonna get hit because somebody has to be willing to hit that order. And if your order isn't sizable to the point where somebody's gonna hit it, then they're just not. Because that's the thing, while they're gas free for one side, they cost gas to the other. So that's one thing you got to keep in mind. You're very welcome, Crypto Gammy. Hope you are doing well. Considering ending my earliest stake and sacrifice of PLX. Now, look, I don't know if you want to do that. You can, but I don't think it's worth sacrificing hex that you have staked unless it's just one stake that you don't care about because it's a small stake and the majority of your stakes are long term or whatever. If you have like one of those particular situations, I get it. Like I could do something like that, but I don't think it's worth doing because it's not even enough hex to do it. Like it's not even 10,000 hex, I don't think. So it's not worth doing it in my opinion. In my opinion, for me, right? For me. So something for you to consider. It depends. It depends. It depends. It depends what you got to do. Because sometimes you got to go all in, as my man here far out is saying, and he has experience in that realm. That's why I say it depends, right? He did something similar for PulseChain, where he emergency unstaked a stake, and so trade's gonna pay off handsomely. So it just depends. Well, thank you very much, man. That's a hell of a compliment because that's my whole goal. My whole goal is to get people to understand this product, and what it is and what it does because it's life changing, man. It's changed my life, so I try to share that. Yeah, so there you go. There's further confirmations for large orders. We trying, man. We trying. We trying hard, bro. We trying hard. Time is stacked. So yeah. So given that it played out so weird last time because somebody wanted to manipulate the price. So last time what happened was we had the price run up literally like right here, right? We had the price run up. It ran up and then somebody shoved it down. And this was the effect of that. Right, we had this big ass price dip on 20th of January, and then it got bought back up because clearly that was retarded. And it got bought back up, and then of course that gave the typical yo-yo reaction. And Hex continued on his way, but we still had that ridiculous move at first. So I think people had like the first couple days of this price pump to sack. I think it was. Let's see. Yeah, I think it was just this day. I think it might have started that day, actually, and that was it. Then they shoved it all the way down. So it seems like if the SAC is going to be anything similar in terms of how it was structured, it seems like the best day is going to be, whatever day is the most expensive in terms of, because what it is going to be like the pulse chain SAC, right? Where the dollar is where the dollar value represented your points. So you'll want to be able to SAC the highest dollar value, right? And this is why people are saying to SAC hex, because it's known to pump, right? Last time it didn't pump because what ultimately ended up happening is that everybody was waiting for everybody else to buy in. That's what ultimately happened. So it was a bunch of chiefs, not enough Indians, or a bunch of Indians, not enough chiefs in that respect at that time. So that's what happened then. Everybody was looking, so everybody was gun shy, and everybody, nobody did anything, and that's what happened. So maybe this time it'll be different. We don't know. We'll see. But one thing we do know is that this sacrifice is probably going to be way bigger than the first one. And look, if it lasts long enough, I'll personally be probably sacking 2 times, because why not? What else is there to do? But I mean, if there's not like there's any other coins out there that are really worth buying, right? I mean, let's be honest. So, what is this here? All right. I don't know why that's not showing. Let's see. People always ask, "Are you gonna keep 20% P hex, E hex, or?" Yeah, I don't know, man. You know, there's this thing I used to follow when I used to trade a lot. I'll show you guys. Oh, oh, wait. Let's just see if it gives it to me. I don't think that's the right one. Nah. Not the right one. Give me a second, guys. Let's see. There we go. So when I think of both P hex, E hex, this is what comes in my mind. I'm pretty sure it's abnormal to most of you, but that's okay. This is called the Yuan spread. I'm not even gonna try to say the fancy word because I can't. So this is what I expect. I expect the value of both to trade in a range. I don't actually expect them to trade um, in some type of ridiculous range like some people expect. I just don't think it's gonna happen. Richard already let us know that it's not gonna be super expensive or excuse me, super cheap, right? Like he already let us know that Hex is gonna be valuable from the jump on both chains. So we can let that dream go of cheap Hex and all that. Like when he went into the technical details on the interview with Hexo, made it clear to me that there wasn't going to be any cheap Hex whatsoever. And it seemed to me like he was basically saying there was going to be a bridge. So I'm not aware of there not being a point in time where we're going to be launching here on PulseChain without a DEX and a bridge. So I think when we go live, I don't think it's going to be minimal viable anything. I think now we're going to go all the way out, full stop, full ecosystem. And who the hell doesn't like free money? Everybody likes free money. So everybody's going to be forced to engage. Be a fool not to, right? I mean, let's be honest. And you guys are very welcome. Thank you for the kind words. Now, in terms of the strategy, in terms of what I'll keep, I'm already gonna be staked with what I got, right? So what I got is gonna be doubled, so I'm good there. Question is, what am I gonna buy in the future? And that's one that I don't know, right? To me, right now, it's looking like straight pulse because why would I buy anything on Ethereum? Ethereum is a joke. Why would you buy anything on there? I don't know. So that's where my head's at, right? I don't know. Yep. Yep. Pretty much, man. Pretty much. I mean, you already got people saying PulseChain, shitcoins are the way on PulseChain. Like, come on, bro. Like, you out your fucking mind. Like, they're just more pump and dumps on PulseCoin. That's all. On PulseChain. That's all. Mhm. Look at that. Hustling, baby. That's all it is, man. Hustling, hustling. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're gonna get a copy. Fuck, man. Copy plus PulseChain, and if you sack for PulseX, you're gonna get that too. Like, you can't fucking lose, yo. That's a fucking forfecta. Forfecta right there. You can't lose, man. It's fucking insane. It's hard to say, man, because I think it's gonna be similar to Pulse in the sense that it's only gonna be X amount made. So it's gonna be deflationary. Um, it's not gonna be like other cryptos where there's gonna be billions being minted. It's gonna be deflationary. So the way it's gonna work is that the coin itself is gonna be deflationary. The reward coin, incentive coin, is gonna be inflationary. So you're gonna have those both crisscrossing, right? So the coin that you're gonna see be used for the reward perspective is gonna be the inflationary one. So it's gonna be not the one that people are going to be able to buy and trade on the market. So that's the upside there, and there's going to be plenty of fundamental side to it. We don't really know exactly what it's going to look like final stage, so we're going to reserve judgment. Yeah, shout out to Children of the Grave, you the man. Appreciate you, Alexander. Appreciate you, man. Let's see. Uh, right. Yep. I think it is, man. I personally do. I mean, it's one of the things that motivated me to start streaming. I had to find a way to add value, and it ended up being streaming because I found a gap that I can fill, and that was it. And it does make life easier. Uh, well, okay, not all the way easier. It does make it better. To me, that doesn't make it easier, but I guess clearly not all the time, right? But it is easier. Um, yeah, you know. So we shall see. Thank you for the super sticker, brother. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, yeah. It stinks, man. It stinks. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's my whole point. Like, I don't see why the hell I would ever trade on Ethereum after PulseChain comes out. So I don't know. Guess we will see. Yeah, good luck, right? We don't really even know. Yeah, t-shirt rate is retarded right now. So yeah, it's crazy, man. All them damn coins. Fuck, don't even make no sense. Like, we was winning crazy with Hex by itself, right? To get all this extra love is ridiculous. And then I think the real benefit to us as early adopters is just a simple fact that we're not really. I mean, you got people coming into Hex 2 days, 2 years late, and they think they're really late. But people forget where was Bitcoin at in 2 years late, right? Bitcoin was nothing 2 years in, and Hex is way more at this point. Like, that should give you a sense of where we're going. Like, it's real, right? Yeah, it's hard to say, man. I don't know. Um, it's so easy to say that, right? But it's hard to imagine there'd be much of a delta. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think anybody really cares about Ethereum like that. I think Ethereum has really shot itself in the foot by not caring about its customers. That's what I think. I mean, you see it a lot on Twitter. I don't know if you're on Twitter a lot. Shout out to my boy D'Artagnan. Hope you're doing well, brother. Need to hit you up, bro. Because if you're still in New York, we need to get up. But yo, the fees are retarded. So it's important to understand that. I mean, look, $3,800 a T-share. I remember when it was $380. That was a long time ago. So yeah, there's a lot of things to do, man. PulseX is going to give us a lot of options to make money. And the cool thing is at first it's going to be not a lot of people there. So we're going to have all the options we want to make all kind of money. So it's going to be really cool for us because we're going to be first to everything, right? It's just about being clear on what's a scam and what's not. Because just like there's scams on BSC, there's going to be scams on PulseChain. So don't get that twisted. You know, be sure you're not putting your money in bullshit. Because that's always important. For sure. Yeah, right. Yeah. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. All right, guys. Guess we're going to wrap it up. Yeah, I wasn't around for them days. It's just crazy. Yeah, it was a good one, man. Yours is the best one I've seen so far, to be honest with you. Still, to date. Yeah, we do own this shit, man. It's important you guys remember that. Whatever you guys do, it adds value to the system. Whether it's not online or real life, right? In real life or online, it don't matter. And that's something you just got to understand. Because the more quality people we add to this network, the more unstoppable it's going to become. We don't need quantity. We need quality. Right? That's what's going to make it superior. That's what's going to keep us above the fray. Right? That's what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? And I love everybody because we're all in here to fight the same fight. You know what I mean? It's not about picking sides and all that. It's about fighting for what's right. Nothing else. So whoever is fighting against that, they're going to find themselves in a bad way. Because like most of the people, I'm tired. And we're going to have the gains to make shit happen. So we're going to pump our own bags and make it happen. That's how this is going to go down. Pretty simple. And shout out to Robert, man. Hope you guys are doing good up there, man. It just has to be done. You know, has to be done. You know, they got people out here sacrificing their bloodlines. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's crazy, man. But we're going to get it back. Don't you guys worry. It's already in the works, man. But you guys have a good night. Nice 2-hour stream. You guys have a good one, man. It's been a good one. I'll play a little outro. Forgot about that. Let's see where we at. Yeah, we're going to go out with Everybody Done Told You. I'm going to holler at y'all, man. Y'all be easy.
Right? The reality is that I want to be rich as fuck. There's only one way to be rich as fuck. That's by sitting on your ass the longest.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
That's the secret. The God Will told you. Richard done told you. I done told you. Kareem done told you. Maddie done told you. Everybody done told you. Everybody done told you. These motherfuckers still acting like they don't know. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
100% safe. There's plenty of games left.
Valiant done told you. Yo, everybody said it. I mean, hey, you know what it is, man? Everybody done told you. Yash deep, everybody. Australia.